Okay, Roger once again, Mud Fossil University. Once again questioning some of the assertions made by mainstream geology. And this is one that I need to address because recently, apparently, they are looking at the runoff off of Mauritania, which is Mauritania is right in this area. And this is Africa. Here, let me just show you the broad picture. Here we are at Africa. Alright, and this is Mauritania, and of course this is the Sahara, and there is an enormous amount of sediment has run off here, and they are examining it and seeing some channels cut in here, and they're thinking that it has something to do with the flow of the Atlantic currents. That's what I take it as. I could be totally wrong. They might have some other opinion, but that's what I'm seeing from the research that I hear. And they claim that that has happened offshore, some kind of collapse caused all this. But it's extremely obvious if you look that all this ran directly out of the Sahara into the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, it's just so obvious that I can't see how it could possibly be missed. And apparently it is being missed. Now, and I also claim in my research that this is the cause of the event was the collapse of the eye of the Sahara, which dropped down and broke what appears to me to be a straits that was constructed by someone. And that straits is right here. Now, this is talked of in antiquities as a straits broken and as Atlantis collapsed, and that is the structure of Atlantis. And I have found the actual constructed things that they speak of Atlantis in Plato's work. I think it was called the Timaeus. And he explains exactly what happened, and there it is. So now, let's start from that perspective. This, I claim, is not understood. Now, secondarily, what is not understood is the makeup of the Earth. And the Earth is made of giant creatures that were also spoken of in the past. And this, believe it or not, is the body of a giant creature, and it continues way, way, way down. This is the affluent that runs off of a decaying body, and this creature was a dragon, and that is the dragon's head, and that is the little fluty stuff that runs down a dragon's body with the little fluffy stuff that goes along with it, and of course this and his flary red eye, and then when you come down into his throat, so let's come back out of here, there's his head, and this is his throat, and you will see all the dragon scales that line his throat. And they go all the way down. You see, these are dragon scales. As far as I'm concerned, these are dragon scales. And the whole thing, 100%, is a dragon. You see this going down? That is not the just weathering of rocks. I mean, just be serious about this. You know, open your mind, open your eyes, just sit down, relax, take a couple of deep breaths, and look. Now look, I just showed you dragon-scaled throat. Now, this is an enormous creature, and it was apparently red as is spoken of in the past. This is his neck coming down, this is the body, these are the legs, and this always runs all the way back here to the tail. And I will show you the tail right here. You see, this is all part of his tail. And let's come way down to the end, sort of, and we'll see if it is really his tail. And if that runoff is the same sort of runoff. And yes, there's the runoff. And yes, there's the dragon scales. And yes, that is his tail. And these are what they call transition metals that run from blood. That's transition metal elements. Now, one last thing before we continue on towards my other claims. This dragon apparently is attacking a giant fish that was also spoken of in the ancient texts. And that's the scales of the fish. There's his eye, these are the fins, there's his tail, And all of this stuff ran out, apparently during this battle. I see some has run over his body, some has come around this way, but it's all come from this area. Now, and I say the reason it was a battle, the fish was attacked by that dragon. And this is where the stuff that he spit on it hit the dragon's body. As you back up from the fin and the back of the fish, and you come back up to the dragon's head, you will see that whatever it was spit down on here and landed on that dragon, on that fish, and caused this, and it is very seriously nasty stuff. And this is what came out of that dragon to attack the fish. Now, whatever it is, I do not know. But it did apparently, literally, combust at this point right here, is what I'm seeing. And then this whole thing just, and as it did, it swept down against the fish's flesh and began to kill it, or whatever. They're dead, let's put it that way. And they're both decaying and decomposing. So this is not a very long time ago. So here we have two claims on, well, a bunch of claims really. The runoff out here is the product of the draining of the Sahara Ocean, which was spoken of as a complete ocean system in here, protected by Atlantis through the straits. This is the straits here. There's the straits of Hercules up above, and that was broken later. That was not during this event. So we have the runoff, we have Atlantis, we have a fish, which apparently is the Leviathan, as it was written about. We have a dragon, which was written about in the past, the ancient serpent, and could very well be Satan, as far as I know. So we're not talking about stuff that can't be looked at. Now you can look at it and say this guy's crazy, but you can't really dismiss it. In reality, you can only just say, "Oh, that's just silly," and walk away. To be realistic and true to reality, you have to investigate it. And it's the whole area here. As a matter of fact, every bit of this area in Morocco basically talks about dragons. There were dragon this, dragon that, dragon hill, dragon pond, dragon this, and it's all dragons. And they have discovered some blue stones there that are impervious to any acids and fire or anything, which could be from these dragons. All I can say is I show you what I see, and I would like answers. Now, going from here, we're going to go to Chicxulub, which I also disagree with, and I also disagree with the KT boundary. I disagree with geology 100%. 100%. And I'm not going against anybody. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not trying to cause anybody any distress. I'm trying to come to reality, and I need people to look at the things that have been discovered from Mud Fossil University and the mud fossils and the ancient giants, dragons, fish. These things this is our reality. You can't hide from it. So I'm going to go into the KT boundary and the Chicxulub crater, and I've contacted people that are involved in the research there, and we're going to see if I can get some answers. All right, so this is part one. Part two will be coming up shortly, but we're talking along the scale of a dragon that runs from here to the Mediterranean. We're not talking about little tiny things. Now, that Yucatan Peninsula is and their crater is nowhere near this size. So let's go see about that Chicxulub crater and soon, because it's right down in this area here. Okay, which also I disagree with this entire thing. I say this is a mining area, and this is the spoils that were dumped here with a conveyor that dropped these spoils in these little balls, and it ran off from the side of here. This was all mined at one time, and they took the spoils and dumped them there, and they also brought them down here and dropped them in here, and these are the plow blade marks where they plowed everything down. Very, very obvious. and it all piled down here in these piles and ran off into the depths. That's how they do mining. And this part of the mining would have had plane ramps that go up, and the spoils go up the conveyors and drop in these big buckets. That's what they do now. So this research here I'd like to discuss, and I'm trying to get some answers. So let's go into phase 2. Things are not what we're being told they are. And to stay with mainstream geology just because you want to stay employed and because you want to stay an expert in the status and all that business, and to believe all the things that we're told, it's not really going to work, because now it's fully understand mud fossils has overthrown this whole thing. So it's time to really pay attention and to not fight it. Don't fight it. Contest it. Challenge it. But don't walk away and ignore it. I mean, fight it. Fight it. Don't walk away from it. I want to fight. I want an absolute investigation of the things that I have discovered. And to that end, we just did a new website. It's actually coming up right now. But you'll be able to go here, Mud Fossil University. It's going to be mudfossil.com. And this is the new website that's coming up right now. It's they're working on it as we're speaking. And it's going to be the Mud Fossil University, and it's going to incorporate also, this is the DNA reports that we have done. This is the YouTube, and this is a Facebook link. And the DNA reports are right here for all to see. 3 DNA tests, very ancient DNA protocols, bacterial extraction kits, and all kinds of things. So it's fully certified, and there's 3 tests, and the results were Homo sapien mitochondrial DNA, Homo sapien mitochondrial cytochrome B gene, Homo sapien D loop region. All 3 of them were, well, 2 of them were dense with DNA, and 1 of them was less dense, but it was still completely, and they're certified. Their lab results are certified, and 2 different labs did the work. So we're going to go into the reality of geology, and the reality of geology is biology.